The recent Trump-brokered Gaza peace plan, an agreement between Israel and Hamas, marked a significant development by initiating a ceasefire and commencing a hostage and prisoner exchange after 2 years of war. While the initial phase brought a halt to the intense fighting and allowed for a surge in humanitarian aid, the comprehensive plan remains extremely fragile, with its subsequent phases hanging in the balance, due to fundamental disagreements on long-term security and governance. Summary and current status. The peace initiative, outlined in a rough 20-point plan, has been implemented in its initial phase. This phase, signed in Egypt with the mediation of the US, Egypt, Qatar, focused on an immediate ceasefire, the release of hostages held by Hamas in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel, a partial withdrawal of Israeli forces, IDF, from Gaza's main cities, and the unimpeded delivery of humanitarian aid. Current status: ceasefire and exchanges. The ceasefire is in place, and the exchange of all remaining living Israeli hostages and a large number of Palestinian prisoners has been completed. Aid. Humanitarian aid is flowing into Gaza, though reconstruction challenges are monumental. Withdrawal. Israel has completed a first-phase pullback, but the IDF still controls a substantial portion of the territory, a key point of contention. Next steps, Phase 2. The plan's future hinges on the yet-to-be-negotiated Phase 2, which is intended to address the complete demilitarization of Hamas, the establishment of a post-war transitional governance body, and the full withdrawal of Israeli forces. Analysis. Reasons the deal is fragile. The fragility of the Trump peace plan stems from a profound conflict between the core demands and objectives of Israel and Hamas, especially regarding the long-term future of the Gaza Strip. Core obstacles and reasons for instability. Hamas disarmament. The Trump plan demands the complete demilitarization of Hamas and the destruction of its military infrastructure. Senior Hamas officials have publicly and repeatedly stated that disarmament is out of the question and would only be considered under a fully sovereign Palestinian state. Israel, in turn, has vowed to resume the war if Gaza is not demilitarized. This creates an almost unbridgeable gap. Israeli withdrawal. The plan calls for Israel's eventual withdrawal to a buffer zone. However, Prime Minister Netanyahu has signaled that the IDF will not withdraw from crucial areas, such as the Philadelphia corridor, a security measure Hamas insists Israel must relinquish. The plan's vagueness on a timeline and enforcement mechanism for further Israeli withdrawals exacerbates this issue. Post-war governance. Phase 2 proposes a transitional administration led by Palestinian technocrats and supervised by an International Stabilization Force, ISF, possibly chaired by President Donald Trump. Hamas has agreed not to participate in future governance, but has rejected the idea of an international or foreign security force, suggesting it could instead hand over control to an independent technocratic government. The details of the ISF, its mandate, composition, mostly Arab Muslim countries, and its ability to disarm Hamas are completely unresolved. Lack of trust and enforcement. Given the historical and current animosity, there is an absolute lack of trust between the parties. Without a clear, universally accepted international monitoring and enforcement authority, each side retains the power to derail the agreement. Consequences and predictions. Potential consequences. If the negotiations for Phase 2 collapse, the likely consequences are severe. Resumption of conflict. The most immediate and tragic consequence would be the resumption of full-scale military conflict, putting civilians and remaining hostages at renewed risk. Deepened humanitarian crisis. The reconstruction of Gaza, already estimated to take decades, would halt, locking the 2 million residents into a catastrophic humanitarian situation. Political instability for leaders. For Prime Minister Netanyahu, a resumption of war or failure to secure Gaza's demilitarization could lead to a political crisis, potentially triggering new elections. For Hamas, failing to achieve a permanent end to the war after releasing the hostages would be a major political defeat. Prediction. The peace plan is likely to remain stuck in its current initial phase. A permanent resolution is unlikely under the existing framework because the core demands, Hamas's disarmament and Israel's full military withdrawal, are mutually exclusive in the short term. The most optimistic prediction is a prolonged, tense ceasefire, maintained primarily by international and regional diplomatic pressure, with periodic flare-ups as the parties test the limits of the deal's undefined security provisions. The complete demilitarization of Gaza and the long-term governance structure will likely be postponed or remain only aspirational goals. Solutions and next steps. To move beyond the current impasse, the international community and the negotiating parties would need to focus on establishing a strong, credible, and detailed framework for Phase 2. Establish a robust International Stabilization Force, ISF. The ISF needs a clear UN or multinational mandate, a well-defined set of rules for engagement, and clear backing from both the US and key regional Arab powers, Egypt, Qatar, UAE. This force must be powerful enough to provide security assurances to Israel without being perceived as a permanent occupation force by the Palestinians. Phased disarmament and economic integration. Instead of demanding immediate and total disarmament, a more realistic approach could involve a phased demobilization linked to concrete, measurable economic and political benefits for the people of Gaza. This could include the creation of a special economic zone and rapid, large-scale reconstruction efforts to create jobs and stability. Empower a technocratic Palestinian Authority. Efforts to reform and strengthen a credible, non-Hamas Palestinian technocratic administration for Gaza need to be accelerated. This government, not an external board, should be the visible face of civilian governance, working toward a unified future with the West Bank. J.D. Vance's role. U.S. Vice President. J.D. Vance has been instrumental in the recent talks, emphasizing the triple objectives of hostage return, ending the Hamas threat, and increasing aid. His continuing role will be key, particularly in bridging the gap between Israel's security maximalism and the Arab states' need for a credible Palestinian future. However, for the deal to advance, the U.S. position may need to shift from merely supporting Israel's maximum demands to becoming a firmer enforcer of the plan's commitments, including those related to Israeli withdrawal. The deal's fate hinges on whether the negotiators can translate the aspirational principles of the 20-point plan into actionable, mutually verifiable steps that address the core security and political fears of both sides.